live stream with OBS.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
I got invited to do some kind of a trial for some program called Blue Jeans. I don't know.
Hi.
It's some streaming thing.
Ooh, excuse me, that's off to a loud start. Hey guys, what's up? I am live with Jeremiah the Hacker. So this should be... They can't see you yet. Stop waving. Just stay there. This should be a fun interview. He's a cool dude, and I'm excited, guys. So let's bring him onto the scene. Hey, man.
Hey, Joss. Hey, thanks for having me.
So,
Especially
rough
with
morning.
no agenda. Yeah, rough morning, no agenda. I like it.
No agenda. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get you on to this for a while because no one really knows what you do. They see stuff. It's like, this guy's interesting. He talks about some cool stuff, but what the hell does he do?
Mystery, right?
You're a player, man. So tell me, what is it that you do?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be glad to. Well, right now I spend the majority of my time running what you could call a hacking company. So we essentially get hired to hack banks, casinos, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, some governments even, before the bad guys do it. And the idea is to show people all their vulnerabilities along with like how they're going to be hacked. And it's better to have someone like our firm do it first versus finding out that it's a surprise. And plus, there's a lot of regulation around this industry too, like PCI, payment card industry, HIPAA compliance for the healthcare industry. So they have to have kind of what we do. Certain industries do, and then other people just want to know that they're safe, right? They don't want someone maliciously doing what we do to them and removing funds from them. Because, for example, I can share a little nugget with you. Many folks may know this stuff exists, but I'll get calls from people saying, "Hey, 500,000 US dollars was just wired from our corporate account to an account in China, and we can't get it back." And that's because someone used like an elaborate 3 to 6 month con artist program or social engineering or phishing, whatever you want to call it. But they understood the inner workings of how the accounting systems work, how the wiring works and all that stuff. And then they'll do things like that where it's more of a social engineering or a con artist type thing. And then there's other stuff, which is like, people actually hacking computers, hands on keyboard and that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I spend most of my time with now. I'm not the hacker. I'm more of the business growth person, but that's where I spend the majority of my time, and it's something that I enjoy doing is growing these kind of complex, high ticket business to business type companies. It's pretty fun.
Does that happen much? Randomly hacking and stealing large sums of money?
It depends. There's many reasons that people do it. I would say it goes all the way from, kind of kids or script kids, as we call them, just running programs on the web just to see what they can hit. A lot of us in the marketing space have seen our WordPress sites getting compromised, right? Someone compromised the site, and then so that's usually like just script kid level stuff. They're running like a big blanket attack against everyone, and then they see where they can get in. Sometimes they'll redirect to adware and things like that, and then it goes all the way up to nation state sponsored stuff, like countries fighting against other countries and things like that. But wire fraud is a big one, internal fraud, things like that. And there's other aspects too. It's not just money. It's potentially defacing or making someone look bad, public perception. That can be pretty bad too for a company, if they're in a pretty sensitive space. So you got to kind of be careful with that, and that's why we always feel that it's better to get broken into by us before someone else does.
Okay, so that's kind of where you're at the moment, but let's backtrack a little bit. Where did you start? How did you end up go from wherever you came from to being a hacker?
Well, I've always been in business, I guess, like many folks probably watching. When I was 16, I actually had a landscaping business. I wanted a company that had kind of repeat revenue. So I literally got a small pickup truck and a couple lawnmowers and weed trimmers, and I built up an account list. And I would literally every week just go visit each account, make my money, and then in college started another company, a web business, and we built very good timing in the late 90s. It was 97, 98, and we built the first National Soccer Hall of Fame website by pure chance. The guy that ran our career center said, "Hey, Jeremiah, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to build websites." And he said, "Great. Can you build one for the National Soccer Hall of Fame? I'm on the board." I said, "Yeah, sure." I had no idea how to build websites. I knew how to mess around with Photoshop a little bit, so I went and recruited a team, and we all put together a team, a bunch of buddies. And my roommate said he could write HTML. I knew how to do Photoshop, and then we knew a guy that could do both. And we teamed up, and we built that, and then we started doing banner advertisements for pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Hartford Insurance and a bunch of other ones. And we were just hustling, man, like hustling in the late 90s.
Pfizer?
Yeah.
I know
No, not that one. Yeah, I know where you're going. No, I wish I had that account. There was no little blue pill, but we did the Zyrtec allergy medicine. And it's hilarious because maybe somebody can kind of learn from this a little bit, because I've been at this for a while. And that is, we literally had no idea what we were doing. We got the accounts, and I said, "Well, who's going to write the copy or the text for these banner ads?" And Pfizer said, "Just write something, send it to us, and we'll let you know if we like it or not." And literally every time we would just send it, and I was literally working on like a little 12-inch colored screen laptop that was the size of a huge book, right? And we would just literally send it over, and they would say, "Yeah, that's fine, that works." And then we would see
phone in front of you, but your comments are blowing up right now.
Oh yeah. I do have my phone. I'm actually on my phone right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can't really see the comments, but I'll be sure to, if people have questions, I can always go back and answer them.
It's all good.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so thanks just jumping in it, going about it.
Yeah, not being afraid that you can't do it, right? Like you need some special qualifications. Just go for it, and then action. I know a lot of people talk about massive action. I don't really like that term, but it's literally just try to provide some value, get some feedback, and get that process going as quickly back and forth as you can. And don't let yourself think that you can't do it, because we were just kids, and I mean we were working on huge accounts. Timing was right, though. I mean, we got lucky. The timing and the need was right. It might be harder to do that today, but we were there, like eager and ready when the opportunity was there, and when that overlapped. That helped me to get a job. So
it sounds like you personally not having those skills actually worked in your favor, like having to bring the team together fast, like in terms of building that skill set of being a manager of people. It's something that most people take years upon years and years to actually work out, but you've been forced into it early because of necessity.
Yeah, and I think it's good to force yourself into it. Like, I didn't know any better. I just did it because that's what came along. It's not like I had some master plan, but it is true. Like, if you keep good people around you, keep a good network, and then when things come up, you're like, oh, that guy can do this and this gal can do that, and let's all team up and like work on this together. And you already know you have some confidence in, kind of your team before the opportunity even comes to you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you're a kid, you're doing all these things. What happens after that? Because I know you kind of changed to employment for a second there.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, one of the things I wish that I had, and I highly recommend everyone do this, is again, it's something someone always says, but find a mentor that kind of has the wisdom and experience in life, not just any old mentor, but someone that can kind of help you along. Like, I didn't have that. It's something that I'd wanted, but I ran my business. The banner ad thing started to fade out toward the late 90s, where people felt like, geez, $45 CPM or whatever the average was back then. It's just too much. We're not getting the return. But at the same time, the dot-com boom was really taking off. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life in terms of career and employment. Like, you could literally say, I know HTML, and they're like $80K a year, $90K a year. Quit school, move to the city. We're building all these great things. Let's come do it. So I was in the career center. I spent a lot of time there at my university. and a fax came through that said e-commerce consultant needed or wanted or something like that. And I said, I'll respond to it. I'll just call the number that's on there. And next thing I know, I talked to some folks. They said, we're hiring a bunch of people in Boston. And at the time I was living in upstate New York. And they said, we would like to send you plane tickets and fly you up to Boston for a round of interviews. And I was like, okay. I grew up in a small town of like 1,200 people in the country. I think I'd maybe flown once, maybe twice before in my life.
Excuse me.
So I did it, and I thought like maybe I got the job. I wasn't sure, and I was right at graduation. So I was like, what am I going to do if I don't get this job? I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to have to go live with my parents,
How much had you made prior to that with banner ads?
Oh, geez. We were doing that's a good question. If memory serves, we were getting paid $150 to $250 to create each banner. And I would get batches of orders, like we need 15, we need 20, we need 16. So at one point it was thousands and thousands of dollars per week. It was like a factory just running boom, over and over. But so that was going well. And when you see that taper off, I was like, I need to go get a job. So I went and interviewed, at that company in Boston. And I thought, I was like, well, they didn't get back to me. They said they'd get back to me in 2 weeks. So I called my mother at our home and I said, Mom, hey, did you get anything in the mail? She said no. And I said, well, can you go check the front door just in case, because they never used the front door of the home. Sure enough, there was an envelope in the door. And I was like, open it up, Mom, I want to see. Like, did I get the job or not?
Yeah.
And she opens it up and it was like, Mr. Baker would like to congratulate you and extend an offer to you. And the offer was more than my father had ever made in his life, right? So I was like, whoa, ecstatic. We're going to move you to the city. We're going to pay for all your moving expenses up to like $8,000 or something like that. And we're going to put you through a 3-week boot camp for consulting training. We're bringing in all these consultants. We're going to do mock interviews with executives and film you and put you in conflict situations. And I was like, I hit it. I thought, that's it. I hit the lottery, But as you can see now, shortly after that kind of corporate world faded for me, and I wanted to go back into my own business, just because I knew I wasn't cut out to sit in the gray cubicle, every single day based on my pastime. But that's a long-winded answer, but I just wanted to kind of share that.
Okay, so this is the company you had the opportunity to get a percentage of, or was this a different one?
No, that was different. I had acted as a consultant, for many companies. Sorry about that.
Right.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, many people try to call me throughout the day, and I think somebody was trying to call me.
Kicks off. It's all good.
But I consulted with a lot of companies over the years, and I think that kind of helped fast track learning because I didn't stay at one place for a long period of time. I would go on contract and work for many companies. But no, the company that that sold and I didn't have any equity in sold for about, I think it was $58.6 million. That was a company that sold lead generation to high-tech companies, large companies, blue chip companies, all Fortune 1000, that type of tech companies. And I was brought in to basically help turn around the product. And I turned it around and got it, basically, long story made real short, after 2 years of not selling, we got it selling and did really well. They sunsetted the product. I was fired. And then 3 months later, the company sold for around, like I said, $60 million. I didn't have any equity in that business. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's a pretty good lesson in life. I was about 29 at the time. And that's when I realized equity is very, very important if you're a growth person.
Okay, so you were consulting, but you predominantly were just growing the business for them.
Yep. I was brought in to help turn around the product that wouldn't sell. And at 28, 29, I didn't know a whole lot about equity and all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to go in there and crush it, do a good job, which we did. But unfortunately, I didn't have the knowledge or mentor to kind of say, hey, you might want to try to buy in or get a little equity in this thing because they're going to sell it. But that's hindsight, right?
Yeah, so you mentioned that earlier to us on our pre-op conversation that you realized that what they're actually doing was different to what they told you was doing. What were the warning signs that was happening for you? If you there wasn't a lot of warning. It was literally,
hey, we know you're selling pretty well and that everything's going pretty good, but we're going to not do this product anymore. And for me at first, I was like, well, wait a minute. What's going on with that? That was a shock, right? Because you thought you were moving up, and then I didn't really think anything of it because I literally left and started my own agency doing exactly what I've always done, is help tech companies get leads and sales. But then it was 3 months later, one of my friends who had worked at the company still said, hey, I think we're positioning to sell. And that's when I was like, aha, now I see why everything was moving so quickly and being adjusted toward the end. And it was just a good lesson that if you know the company's positioning themselves and their plan is to sell eventually, that's their exit, it's good to try to get equity, especially if you're helping toward that growth, because you have pretty good insight that the company should do pretty well on a sale, and not just kind of go at everything like an employee, without being a little bit kind of street smart, I guess is the advice.
Okay. Cool. So that's done. You've been kicked in the guts, but you learned a good lesson.
Yeah. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, I'll tell you that.
What's next? Another call?
Yeah, another call. Yeah, I was going to put it on airplane mode. Sorry about that, man.
It's all good, man.
Yeah. So I started. It was a little bit of a rough thing at first, but you got to get over it. You can't change the history, right? So I literally always wanted to get back at it and work from home. I didn't want to have to work for somebody else. I knew I could generate leads and sales. So I was like, why am I working for somebody else? So I started my own agency or consultancy, helping high-tech companies in 2006. And very condensed story that helped me. One of my first clients is the network security company, which I'm one of the owners in now, equity partner. They were one of my first clients, and we started doing real well. I liked the guys, the team's cool, and they'd asked me to come on and take a more involved role in helping the business to grow. And I maintained my agency book of clients that were on retainer every month, paying over and over. So that was a nice living. And then also having the security company to grow as well. So I kind of rolled into one of my clients' businesses as a partner.
Oh, so that's how that worked.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So somebody obviously realized you had this skill set. They wanted to say, hey, let's bring you in closer because you're a huge asset, which that's the kind of business partner you want. And
yeah. And I think that's good for people that are in consulting to always kind of keep that, keep an eye open to that, because if you consult with a bunch of folks, you'll find people that you really enjoy working with, and you can provide value. They can provide value to you, and you can actually work. You can become more integrated into their business than it just being a job. So you don't always have to go start your own company from scratch and work in a dark room, by yourself and create a business, which I know is very stressful for a lot of people. You can kind of join in and provide value to an existing business and potentially become a partner that way.
Okay, assuming there's the right fit and whatnot, that's...
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that lots and lots of entrepreneurial types struggle with. They're finding that partner you can trust, someone that just has your back 100%, you have theirs. It's just... I've got the kind of relationship with someone as well, but I'm not sure. I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's a hard thing to find.
Yeah, it is. I had about a 6-year audition, though. So I worked with these folks for 5 or 6 years, so I knew them very well. You could obviously do that audition maybe in 2 or 3 years, or even a year, but I knew the folks pretty well by the time that I joined in. And
knew the character by the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I like to always kind of do now is everything's an audition, right? Because everyone says, oh, I'm so great, I'm going to do all these great things for you. But I think you and I had talked about it a little bit before. It's like, let's let some time go by. Time will tell us the truth, right? It's your greatest truth teller. So put everybody through an audition, yourself and the other party, and see how it irons out. And I think you're a lot better off versus jumping into something and potentially getting into trouble.
Okay, so you ran one of the first email campaigns for one of the oldest US credit bureaus.
Yep.
Fuck. How?
Pure luck. Timing.
Yep.
Timing. I was brought in as a consultant to help redesign their website where they sold personal credit products, e-commerce fashion. This was 2004, so they hadn't done
This is one of those
email
things where they, oh, you know the internet, you must know emails.
Exactly. And there was a team though that was helping out with it. It wasn't only myself, but I'd kind of come from working for a smaller company before consulting, and I think we doubled revenue in a year using Google AdWords and email marketing. It was an IT training company. So I brought the whole marketing plan from that into the credit bureau, and I was able to, kind of help craft the email campaigns with the headlines, and I actually built the HTML around the structural HTML around the campaigns as well. And we literally, there's no magic here. It's not like I had some like super smart campaign. It was literally send an email to existing customer base that has not purchased in 6 months, tell them that identity thieves could have messed with their credit, and here's 25% off your next credit report. Pretty straightforward offer, but that was literally under the mattress money that wasn't being accessed. And a lot of companies make that mistake, right? They don't properly mail their existing customers. They're always hunting down the next new customer, where your customer base is like your ATM machine. So if you treat it properly, it can be, yeah. Yep, there was no magic there. It was literally just right time, right place, right offer.
You keep saying no magic, but your stuff is logical, but it's stuff that most people just overlook because they're trying to find that complex funnel, that next level technique, strategy.
Yeah.
Guru magic selling secrets.
No, man, I've never made money with one of these complex funnel things. It's always the fundamentals, give people what they want at the right price, and find out what people want first, and make sure you have a good offer, something that people actually want to buy, instead of trying to whip some crappy offer, into shape. That's where I see most people failing, is I'll make this work, I'll force it to work. In my experience, that doesn't work.
If your offer sucks,
sucks. Yeah. It's like this. Nobody wants this thing. You can't polish a turd.
From a marketing standpoint, you kind of mentioned this before. There's some few pitfalls you've ran into with performance marketing and not having contracts in place.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a tough one. And if someone can learn from my kind of mistakes, I'd gladly share some advice on that. And that once you get pretty good at doing what you're doing, you can spot opportunities. It's easy to spot opportunity. Yeah. And you may get people that come to you and they say, oh, I don't have any money, I'm just starting out or whatever. And most of the time, those scenarios are too difficult to work with because they haven't proven that they can make money yet. So it's a huge risk for you and for them. But every once in a while, you'll find someone that you're like, wow, these guys are on to something. And if you have a lot of opportunities coming to you, you could easily spot that you can help these people do well.
Yeah.
And I've done this a few times where I'd rather not see someone else get burned, in the sense that you really have to have airtight legal agreements if you're going to work on a performance basis. Because, for example, long story short, helped a company do really well on Amazon. They went from moving about 17 units a day up to doing, I think they were doing like, $180K a month in sales, all from the work that we did. And when it came time to pay the performance fees, they didn't want to pay that because that number was really big. Even though we had agreements in place, but they weren't as airtight as we'd like them to be. So that's one thing that you really need to do. It's not something that you should avoid, because I know it's not the most fun, right? Like messing around with contracts and all that kind of stuff. You're like, no, I want to get in there. I want to win. I want to do good for my client. But you still, at the same time, as much as it's not fun, you got to have those contracts in place, because the only thing to really protect you, if you're going to go out there and really crush it. Otherwise, they just take the money, go to the bank, and you're left with nothing.
It's funny. I think a lot of marketing types the good marketing types go through phases, getting paid just for doing the job. Oh, okay, I can make better money if I do performance based. Oh shit, I just got fucked over. Now what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what? You're broke. Yeah, you're left with no money, right? It's like, oh crap. Yeah, that's why I think it's good. Like, everyone's going to get burned here and there on that, but it's really good to have those contracts in place. And hopefully you get a good gut feel for the customer. Like, if you ask them enough questions and the right questions, you can get a feel for like if they're shady or not, but still the contract's the only thing that you'll ever have to lean on if things get strange.
Yeah.
Yep.
Airtight as you can get.
Yeah.
Okay. We already spoke about the sneaky tactics of C-level executives when they ousted you guys before regutting the company and selling it off. So that's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's fun.
Tell me some fun stuff, man. Like, tell me about these selling strategies you use for. How the hell do you sell to government? Like,
sure. Actually, so here's the thing. A lot of people, and maybe people are magicians in sales, right? They just have some kind of crazy talent. I will never claim to have that because the way that most of my businesses are structured, number one, I want to go into a market where people have already agreed that they want to spend money on a particular solution with someone, be it me or someone else. And then all I have to do is go out and get leads from the appropriate channels, be it AdWords, SEO, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, email marketing. And then all I have to do is present sorry about that, man. Then all I have to do is present the best offer to them and create a really crafted offer based on proven, offer creation techniques. And then you can easily, you'll easily come in and you're able to make sales. I think most people struggle, selling to a government or selling to some, corporation really is no different because you're dealing with people that are literally saying, look, just make sure if I buy from you, you're not going to get me fired. You're not going to make me look bad. And the ways that you do that is through social proof, guarantees, reference accounts, and just making sure you're the best darn solution at what you do. You're not faking it. Yeah, sorry, man. Hey, sorry, man. It's just good, for some reason, it's like after hours here, yet for some reason everybody wants to call me over and over and over.
You're so popular. Really,
with telemarketers.
Don't get me started. I get the guys from Go Webby calling me up. I'm like, I don't want a site. I'm sorry. Remove the list. Well, if you really mean you start messing with them a little bit.
It's fun. We do. My buddy does it all the time. He always turns it around to where he has something to sell them. He's like, oh, you're calling about the real estate. Yes, we're selling 2 of those next week. And then 4 in the next week. And they're like, but no, sir. He's like, yes, you're the buyer. It's hilarious, like these guys, and eventually they just hang up. It's fun.
Dude, I do that sometimes. Sometimes you just leave it at the phone, just let them talk to themselves for a couple minutes, and they just keep going. You're like, okay, you clearly never actually talk to your customers.
Yeah, they don't. It's just straight robo pitch. Yeah, now that's a side of sales that I never want to be in. Again, because they're fighting the 2 things that I always wanted in sales, and that is just someone who already knows they want to spend money, and then someone that thinks I'm the best choice to buy from, right? So again, the telemarketers, they got the formula flipped, where I don't see how they're ever successful.
Really, you're into markets where their supply really underweighs demand, because you've got that huge demand. There's maybe a few other people can actually supply it. So you can really raise your price to whatever the market can sustain, which is quite high in that instance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're never and that's another thing. I love high ticket sales because you only have to make a few of them to really make a dent, in your profits and bank account, right? Like if you're selling something for $10,000-$20,000, you don't have to sell too many of those deals to really make out well. But if you're trying to, because honestly, how many people are really good enough at marketing where they're moving, unless you're selling on Amazon, but if you're moving thousands of units a month to where you can make enough money off of small sales, I don't know very many people that are honestly really, really good at that. I don't think that's something that the majority, because you have to be an excellent traffic generation and marketer and a closer. But if you go in and you have offers in complex markets and you're making 5, 10, like I said, 15, 20K a sale, you don't have to make that many sales to get to 6 figures, 7 figures, and so forth.
I think that's something that's so often overestimated or I know, explained within, especially in the marketing space, because you've got so many people that are saying you can do all the success on eBay, you can do all the stuff on Amazon, you can do all the stuff, but you need to look at who's saying it. Is it somebody who benefits from you having that demand, or
Right.
is it someone who's actually just doing it themselves?
Right. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people out there selling hope
Selling
and
hope.
lottery tickets, like lottery ticket kind of mentality, because they know that those buyers are there. You know, like all the CPA stuff, all the biz op stuff. Those buyers are very hungry and easy to exchange money, right? Like like you go to any convenience store, you see people buying lottery tickets like crazy. To me, it's the same mentality. They're seeing these little $40, $50 offers for biz op stuff. And to me, it's very hard to build a sustainable business that has any like long-term equity. I'd rather build like a real business, like a real company that could then be sold for 3, 5, 10x revenues, for example. And you can't do that by... What's that?
So many of those people have that gambler's mentality. Like, okay, it's $50. I'll put it down this time. Maybe it'll pay off.
Yep.
Hope it
and
does.
It just goes to the shelf. Yeah. And I never really played in those markets. That's why I stayed in the complex sale market, where it's very skilled product or labor, but high ticket. I like that. I like that space a lot. It just seems more natural.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about the sales process, because you've hammered this in some of your videos. How do you get? How do you get your foot in the door with these places, and then how does the conversation go?
Sure. Well, again, most of it's attraction based. So people are already out there looking on Google and YouTube and different places like that. Mm-hmm. So long-term strategy is to do something worth writing about, meaning other people want to write about you. For example, our hacking company, right? We do a lot of cool stuff. Like we did an article recently where we tricked an HR person into giving us access into a system, and then we were able to extract all their clients' credit card information from doing this. So we did a write-up on it, very vague blog post, and it got picked up by a bunch of different places. We did another one where we used a mouse. We took a computer mouse, opened it up, hardwired in a TNC controller, put our own malware on there that's never been detected, retail packaged it, sent it as a gift to a customer, and the customer plugged it in, and it was designed to talk back home and give us access to the system. And I think this was a bank. I have to look it up. It's been a while ago since we did it, but we did a write-up on that. That got picked up by Wired and Forbes. It made it on a few television shows like Burn Notice and Homeland. We were on Viceland recently. Yep. So that kind of stuff, long story made short, if you do things that are worth getting written up on, then media outlets and things like that will do write-ups on you and link back to you.
News shows and reality and TV shows as part of the plot.
We were on those shows. Our technique was used in episodes. Yeah.
Epic. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it's cool. So that's how we kind of hacked the press, like pun intended, right? Like we are hackers. We hacked the press. It got the snowball rolling. And that's all it takes is to get in once. Then you have credibility with the media. Then other news sites. So we've had Fox News come film us. Like I said, we were on Viceland, on an episode of Viceland recently. And Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, every single outlet you can imagine we got on. But it all started with that one piece of information that we did a write-up on, a case study. And then we kept snowballing it, because then editors would call, where have you been? And we say, well, we were on Wired and Forbes and all this stuff. And then they go, oh, cool. You're a credible source.
Yeah.
They write up on you. And then what that does, that gives you real search presence too, because you're now an authority in organic search, the holy grail of search traffic. And that's how, in my experience, that's how you get it, and that's how you get the authority, is by giving the news what they want, so they'll write up on you. But yeah, that's really it. It's just attraction-based marketing, and then once people come in as a lead, again, like I said, I love problem, agitate, solution, sales pitch. So present the problem in the space when it comes to buying or doing whatever it is that they're looking to buy. Agitate it with stats, and then present them with a solution. Have all the social proof, have the guarantees, all that kind of stuff, and keep testing and tweaking your offer until you reach a really good sound conversion rate. Just like with e-commerce or anything else, selling person to person, you still need to constantly improve your offer. And once it's up and running, the beauty of that is it can run like an engine for a very, very long time. You don't have to keep chasing $1, every single day just to make money.
All right. I don't even know what to ask you, man. You've answered so many different questions. It's been epic.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Appreciate it.
One thing I will ask, though, because you've mentioned this to me personally, books to read. What do you recommend is like an awesome...
That's tough. It's tough because it's situational, right? So there are some books that I just like because I like them. But I guess it depends on what you want to do. So if you're looking to get leads, then it's, I go out and find the best book that I can based on reviews and recommendations and things like that on leads. If it's sales, it's sales. I don't really have... So there's some basic books like Scientific Advertising, of course, is like a good foundational book if you're just starting out. You want to learn how to write ads, track them all the way through to results and all that kind of stuff. One of the first books that I bought when I was first starting out was by a gentleman who's no longer with us, but he was one of the first real internet marketing gurus. Corey Rudel was his name. And he sold an internet, I think it's Secrets to Marketing Your Business on the Internet. And it was 2 great big blue binders. And my roommate at the time in Boston, his cousin had lent him the binder number 1. And I'd come home from my job and I opened that book up. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know this world exists and you could do it. So the next day we drove to his cousin's house in Cambridge, Massachusetts to get the second binder. And that book really opened my eyes up that, you could sell information online, you could sell consulting, and it kind of laid everything out in a structure. So I really foundationally have always liked that book. And then pretty much anything from Dan Kennedy, because all the direct response stuff, I really like it. It's pretty awesome. Just 1 second here. Let me do something real quick. But yeah, anything from Dan Kennedy, because of his direct response marketing stuff, I've used a lot of his tips, even just in $10 books that have had huge impact on my companies. But again, I find that his stuff really helps if you're already up and running. And you have a business already, then you can apply some of those things to it, and it's like more or less like a turbocharger to an existing business. That makes it, yeah,
it does, man. That's epic. I think everyone's had heaps of learning from this. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap things up? Said Tracy say, need to learn how to hack my competitor's client database.
Yeah, that's the honeypot, right? The golden goose. Unfortunately, that is not legal.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah,
bad, Tracy.
No, that's
bad.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a good one. I get asked that question a few times per week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
man, it's been good.
A lot of interesting stuff, man, with all the stuff you've been doing.
Yeah, I think just pure chance of hustling. If you're always doing something, things will come your way, right? If you're just sitting around, not much is going to happen. But I've always been a busybody,
Nick, that really depends, brother. Yeah, you've got to look at what you want to do. You cannot do that. So Nick's just asked, what should focus on now to make a sustainable 10K a month?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of...
It's a million and one ways to make...
Yeah, consulting, to selling information products, selling software. There's a lot. You just have to find out what it is that you're really passionate about, where you can actually help the market. That's a tough question.
Product or service. You just got to find out where the gap is.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Dude,
one of the...
Oh, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Just a delay. Go ahead.
No, you go for it, man. It's all good.
I got nothing.
You got nothing. You want to say something and then you stopped.
I'm getting old. I forgot already.
Fuck, you are old. Okay, so it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I had a blast. Where can people learn more about you? What is it? Are you doing anything for other people at the moment, or is it just focusing on your own business?
Yeah, I don't do a lot for other people right now. I mean, if you want to connect on Facebook, I mean, I'd be glad to help. That's one thing I would like to do is, like I said, I didn't have a mentor. So I'd be glad to help people however I can, because that is the greatest thing that I wish that I'd had. I'm not crushing it like some other people are. I'm not killing it, but I have built several businesses that generate revenue, and I'd be able to offer that kind of advice if people want help. So Facebook's probably the best way to connect with me right now.
Yeah, guys, Jeremiah posts some brilliant videos, so in his car talking about things. Anyways, man.
Random thoughts, right? Random thoughts
to Jeremiah. How to sell $1 million products. Anyways, guys, enjoy. Hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll be back on in a few hours, I think, actually. But
yeah, thanks,
see you
Josh.
next time.
Bye, man.
And we stopped. It's done.